Okay, let's celebrate wins. And then I have a little bit to share with you, and then we will get into whatever it is that y'all need tonight, which I'm sure is food. I read your chat comments. No problem. Totally get it. Okay. So, Cheryl, your win used the apps and got in a quick exercise even when I wasn't feeling it. Nice
I
job.
kind of reminded myself that I needed to do it and
Oh,
that, it was important.
and how do you feel after?
I felt good. It just, I really wanted to just go sit down and do something on the computer. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna make this a priority and do it.
Good job. Great. So, a little tip, connect with how you feel immediately after you do that exercise. And really hold on to that as like a reward. Like, I really felt better. Like, I didn't want to do it, but I'm glad I did it. I don't regret it. I feel clearer. I feel calmer. I feel whatever. And really take a minute to just be aware of that and connect those two things together. That'll help your brain to want it more. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Lisa planted marigolds at the mailbox. I love marigolds. They're so pretty. And mom and I participated in an online drum circle. That's awesome. And I love you did it with your mom.
It was fun, and it's you know, there's AARP, and they have I guess a branch of that. It's called seniorplanet.org. You don't have to be an AARP member.
Hmm.
For some of their things, you need to have an account, which is free, but that's about it. But the drum circle, no registration, it's free, and it's on Friday nights at 6 o'clock. And so you just kind of, and it's on Zoom, and you don't have to have a drum, right? I grabbed a couple of plastic bowls out of the cabinet, and there we were with our little drums.
Oh, that's fun. That
That's
really sounds
fun.
like a lot of fun, like a little bit of
Yeah.
like playful time and great for your brain. Any type of music is so good for your brain.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun.
That's awesome. All right, Julie, you bought a fitness watch. Yes. Are you so
Uh,
excited?
What sold me on it was it keeps track of my heart rate and my blood pressure. And since
Yes.
they're kind of harping on me about that, sometimes it's hard to run home and get your blood pressure because then, of course, it's going to be escalated because I just ran home to take my blood pressure. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought this is the lesser of the evils.
Yeah. So which one did you get? Is it a Fitbit or is it a
No idea. It's this one.
whatever works?
Seriously, I am so on technology. Mm, If I could have, I would have gotten like one of the Leaf. Have you seen the Leaf? It looks like pretty like a wooden leaf with a piece of metal around it, and you
Oh.
wear it like a bracelet. It looks really pretty, but
Mm-hmm.
it does not track. It'll track sleep, it'll track steps, but it
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't capture great information.
Mm. Yeah.
So
And if
I
you were
thought,
going to invest
no,
in it, you were like, I want my heart rate, I want my blood pressure. I
yeah.
know that
And again,
anyway.
this one it wasn't very expensive because I'm not going to dump a lot of money into it and then realize I'm not really going to use it.
Yeah.
So I think I paid $35 for it.
It's
Not a
excellent.
huge investment. If it actually works well and I collect decent data,
Mm-hmm.
I might get something a little bit nicer.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a good like first step. Am I going to use it? Is it helpful to me?
Yes.
Yeah, do I
Yeah.
actually like tracking all that stuff? Is it, yeah, all that's important. I think
Yeah.
that's a good way to go about it. You said no to three things this week.
Yes.
Look at you on the
I was
roll.
asked at church to help with something. I said, "Oh, no, no, not a good time." The school fundraiser this week. I said, "Nope, can't go because my grandkids are here right now." Although I
Mhm.
did run out during nap time today and I pulled we do a huge plant sale every year
Mm.
and we sold $100,000 in plants this year. And a lot of them are, like we have to pull the orders and get them ready, and people just drive through and they pick up
Oh,
their
mhm.
flowers.
Okay.
So I went out and I picked out 8 orders, and got it started at least. But
Mhm.
then I left before any other teacher showed up because I didn't want to get stuck in the line of talking about things. So
Mm,
I timed it nicely, came home and played with water with the grandkids.
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a huge fundraiser too. Wow.
Um, it has, the first year that we did it, we started at $40,000, and every year it just keeps escalating. It's a greenhouse out of Nebraska. She just, she just does fundraisers for schools. That's it.
Wow. Talk about like a niche clientele, right?
Yes.
Fundraisers for schools. And
Yeah.
I grow plants for them to, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And is that where you bought your flowers for your garden?
That's where I bought my flowers. Yeah. I picked up my small order, but then I always go through all the extras to see what kind of fabulous things that they bring. And yeah.
Yeah. We went to this year, I'd never been to it. I don't know, Cheryl, if you know about it, but there was a plant expo over in Mercer County, like Pennington, where they have like a horticultural society and so like master gardeners, and so they put on a plant show, and so the members propagate the plants and then you can buy them, and we got 12 plants like for $75. It
Wow.
was so reasonable, and I was like,
Plants or garden plants?
garden plants. Like
Okay.
we had a plan. We had a landscape designer come and give us like a plan, but we do the planning. I'm like, I don't need to, my husband loves to garden. I just needed somebody's vision to be like, this would look nice and deer resistant because we have a ton of deer. So we had her do that. We were like, we'll just do a little bit, we just do a little bit every year just to like build it out. And I didn't know what we'd found. So I bring our plans, I'm like, this is, whatever. And we found so much of what we needed. And it was really inexpensive, like $75. I couldn't believe it. Now they're like starters. They're not like, but that's
Right.
okay. I'm like, I have time. Like, we're not going anywhere. So it was just really fun. But they said
Cool.
next year, we didn't get there till 10. It opened at 9. They were like, get here at 8:15 because the line starts. So we were like at like there wasn't a ton left. There was enough for us, but I was like, oh, good to know. Kind of like a concert tickets. Gotta get there for your plants. Okay. All right. Awesome. So I see, Julie, you put your question in there. Lisa, if you have something that you would like to discuss tonight, put it in the chat. And Cheryl, I got you on the food. But first, let's start with, as I'm sure you heard me say, but it always bears repeating, nutrition is a very dense topic. And there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of personal preferences. Okay. So what I think is really important is that we got to look at it from like a high level, like what's the most important things, because we can really get into the minutia and make it way more complicated than it needs to be. So we need to have like a basic understanding of the strategy involved, right? And then also kind of take a step back and start somewhere. Like we don't have to do all of it all at once. That never actually works anyway. Okay. So if you like started digging into it and you're just like, what? That's okay. Normal for you to feel. There's literally no way, like with nutrition, to like do it super, super simply because it is incredibly nuanced. But that's why we're going to work through this together. What I also want you to understand as you get started with the nutrition piece is that really acknowledging and understanding our own hunger cues is the most impactful thing you can do for you. It may feel like, how important really is this, sort of like knowing where my hunger is. But in my experience with clients that I've worked with, for over 3 years, what I find with women is that we become disconnected from our hunger. right? We're like busy with life. We eat at noon because it's lunchtime, or we eat at 5 o'clock because it's dinner time and that's when everybody can get to the table. Or diet culture, what we grew up with in our teens, right, and early 20s, that kind of messaging was you're not hungry, eat less, you got to starve yourself, eat less calories, right? If like the thing says that you've had your calories for the day, then you shouldn't be hungry anymore. So there's like this like disconnect that happens between our brain and our body with like what actually is happening with my body. And so spending a little bit of time reacquainting yourself with like what is happening when you eat. Like, are you really hungry? Or are you not hungry? Like, you may have to explore that a little bit. Or when you're eating, right? Is it like, wait, am I full yet? I'm not sure. I normally clear my plate because that's what I was taught. I was taught to clear my plate. So whatever's on my plate, I clear my plate. I don't really check in with myself, right? It might take a little bit of practice to do that. And that's okay. Tracking. Okay, tracking trips everybody up. It is tedious and mundane, and you're using new technology. So believe me, I get it. It's also it's not like I'm a super fan of it. It's just that the data is really important, and it helps us to make educated decisions moving forward, right? Not just like, well, this is what I hear all the time. Well, I think I'm doing great. Like, I definitely get enough protein and I definitely, I eat clean, right? I think I do great, but then like nothing's happening. And then we actually look at the data and it's telling us the truth. We're really good. And I'm not saying that anybody's a liar. Our brains like to lie to us. It's not us, it's not our intentions, but having the data and being able to look at it is just going to help us to make good decisions, good informed decisions moving forward.
Eating great all day until you eat the sleeve of Oreos at night.
Okay, exactly. And that data is actually really important because I can look at what you ate during the day and I can probably tell you why you ate that sleeve of Oreos.
I've started to notice though that as I'm tracking, so I'm never hungry. But I think because I'm stuck in the teaching thing, I have to eat at 5 o'clock in the morning because that's when I have time to eat breakfast. I
Mhm.
have to eat at 11 o'clock, and I think I'm past hunger then. But I
Mm.
have to eat then because that's the time that I have to eat before the next class walks in again.
Right.
So I can't wait to leave my job.
Right. It's going to be different. But in the
Yes.
meantime, right, it's a matter of how can we structure that so that you can get what you need without kind of the force. I don't know how else to
Mhm.
describe that, but that's kind of what came to me, right? Because
Yeah.
everybody's scenario is just a little bit different. Like we don't have, Lisa, you're retired. You can eat whatever you want to eat. But if you're taking mom to a doctor's appointment, I mean, that was me today. I had Jeffrey at the dentist. They were running an hour late. I was driving home like I'm starving. Like I'm ready to like eat my own arm because I expected to be home already, right? And I didn't bring a snack because normally that's not the case. I mean, life happens, you know? Um, the other thing from a data perspective is we can get really, really hung up on the scale, right? Normal. Everybody's got their own relationship with the scale. Some people want to weigh themselves every day. That's fine. Other people are like, I don't want to weigh myself at all. That's fine. Find what you're happy with and how you're going to measure your progress. It doesn't have to just be the scale. It can be how you feel. It can be a pair of shorts, or jeans that you're like, oh, if I can, how do these feel? That's what I like to do a lot is just how do my clothes feel? And I know like I have certain clothes that are kind of more forgiving than others, right? And so I might use the ones that aren't as forgiving. I call them my hard pants. I don't wear them very often, but like, I want to be able to fit into my hard pants, like that kind of a thing. That will be like a little measure for me. And looking at it not from I'm doing well or I'm doing poorly. Like it's not a a test. It's more just data. What does that look like? What's happening? What's happening with your body? Because what many of us are looking for is a body composition change. So losing fat, gaining muscle, right? That is not a linear process. I could give you meal plans, I could give you workout plans, and I could basically make you starve yourselves, which is a lot of what the diet plans do, and you would lose weight. So the scale would go down, but you'd be losing lean muscle mass. And that is the last thing we need to lose. Okay? Because we're already losing lean muscle mass as midlife women. And so we're actually looking for fat loss while maintaining lean muscle, which is a different kind of scenario because we're looking for body composition changes over just indiscriminate weight loss. Okay. And, by dissecting the data together, if you're open to that, it's going to just help inform decisions for everyone. So it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to have a lot of questions. It's okay to be frustrated by the tracking or the technology. Like, I just want to give you permission. Just know you're not going to have to do that forever, but a little bit of data is going to help to inform the way forward. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right, let's start with Cheryl. Food. Let's talk. Let's.
I hate the topic of food. I'll
Aw,
share with
yeah.
you. I went to a nutritionist one time.
Mm,
I think it was back when I first went into like pre-diabetic state.
mhm.
And they're like, "Oh, just go to the nutritionist." So I go. I I left and had a meltdown, and it was because I know this is gonna sound really petty, but she's like, "All right, well, if you want to have a cheesesteak, you might have to skip part of the bread and only eat this part of the cheesesteak, and you might have to skip the fries." And I'm like, "I don't want to skip any of those. I want to eat the cheesesteak and not feel terrible about eating it. Like, be able
Yeah.
to go and have that once every so often and know that I just can't have it all the time.
Every
But I don't want
day.
to have to think about it like that. And I don't
Yes.
know. I felt really hard on the cheesesteak, and it was just one of those moments where like, this is like, why does it have to be so hard?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you my philosophy. I think it should be in the videos, but also I think it bears repeating. The way I feel multiple ways. I think I shared this last week too. Like, food is joy. Food should be enjoyable. It is how we care for ourselves. It's how we care for others. Like, culturally, it's a really big deal, right? If somebody invites you over, what do? You bring food, probably, right? Something. So I don't want to lose that joy because, like, what is the point then? Right? If we can't enjoy food, it's like the thing that we interact with all the time. I don't want to villainize food. I also don't, I want to like put it in its right place, right? It's like okay to enjoy what you're eating. It's also okay to have fun with food. And it's also okay for it not to take up so much space in your life, right? The nuance of like, should I have the bun? Should I not have the bun? Should I eat I just want to eat a freaking cheesesteak. That's what I want to eat, right? Like, and being okay with that and making the choice from an empowered place, not I have to deprive myself place. I can't have it. I'm not allowed to have it. Or a F it place. I'm going to eat what I want and I'm not going to worry about the consequences to my body. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's like a middle ground there. And I think that's different for everyone. Like, for me, there's certain foods that, so dairy can be a little iffy in my life. I've healed my gut pretty well, so I can tolerate, but there are things that I know are going to make me not feel good. Right. But let me tell you something. That ice cream cone at the boardwalk, at the beach, I'm going to have it. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm going to enjoy it. It's nostalgic for me, right? I grew up doing that. Like, and so for me, that's worth it. I'm not doing it every day, right? I would feel horrible all the time, but like I can kind of accept the ramifications of not feeling great because I'm like, I really thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm not beating myself up about it, right? So it's kind of that relationship with food that I think is the most important thing. And when you look at like, how can I eat healthier, right? What I always go back to is I want to be a pencil. Did you guys hear this in the video? A pencil, not an eraser. So like the diet industry has told us for our whole lives that we have to be an eraser. Deprive, deprive, deprive. Don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this, don't eat too much, right? Gluten's bad for you, or dairy's bad for you, or fruit is bad for you. How many people have heard that? That one drives me absolutely crazy. Right? All these things are bad for you. Get rid of them, get rid of them, get rid of them. My philosophy is I want to be a pencil. I want to add more of the good things, right? And if I fill myself up on the good things, then it's all going to balance itself out at the end, right? Instead of taking so many things away that I just feel like just restricted all the time. That's not helpful. It hasn't worked because if it did, we'd all be really, really thin because diet industry told us that in the 80s. So we would all be, right? Like we would have no problems with our weight. So that's my philosophy. So, Cheryl, how did you feel after you watched the videos and listened? And you can be totally frank and honest. You don't need to.
Um, well, I struggle with food in general. I'm like a
Mhm.
super picky eater.
Mhm.
So when you put on the sheet and I recognize that you were not saying don't eat this. You said try swaps like for the pasta. That's kind of like my go-to thing.
Mhm.
Like pasta and pizza. And
Yeah.
so I'm a really picky eater. And so for me, the food is a huge struggle. And I know, it's just one of those things I got to figure out how to tackle it because it's just a huge struggle for me.
Yeah. So,
I too, Julie, found that like I wasn't super hungry. Like honestly, I was probably me number four all the time, pretty much. And then I'd look
mm,
at the clock and I'd be like, oh, well, it's way past that time where I should have had lunch, but I'm not really hungry, and maybe I should eat something. But maybe I'm not really hungry, and then I wait till three, and then I'm kind of hungry by then, but I'm still not really hungry. And then I think if I don't eat now, then I'm really on a path to not eat anything for the whole entire day, and I think that's not good either. Um, I don't know. Food is a real struggle for me.
yeah.
It's just I don't know how to get past it.
What was your relationship with food when you were little? Were you really picky when you were little too? Like, has this kind of been always or what?
I was picky. I have in some areas I have increased my pickiness, in some areas I have not.
Mhm.
Like I was the kid who wouldn't eat pizza in kindergarten because I associated with ketchup, and I still don't eat any condiments.
Mhm.
Um, I I do eat a couple salad dressing sort of things, but like oil vinegar based things. But
Yeah.
um, I I can't eat sausage anymore, like things like that. I don't like the textural things, and I only like
Mhm.
white meat chicken. So I'm really picky.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Now, were you little? Was there any like negative attention that you were so picky?
Oh, yes, sometimes that would be difficult because back in the day when you would go to McDonald's and you had to ask for the plain hamburger, that was a big ordeal to ask for a plain hamburger. Or I'm the one in the car with my brother breaking the chicken nuggets open, and if it was white meat chicken, I would eat it. If it was not so white, Max would eat it. And then sometimes I would end up with no chicken nuggets because they'd all be dark meat, and I'd
Mhm.
be eating the fries. You just
Yeah.
come up with a list of safe foods. So like I mean you're seeing my dietary menu is that of a small child. And so like chicken tenders, have chicken tenders in the freezer and just I know that's a safe food that I can eat and not
Yeah.
worry about is like, oh, now I gotta rethink that for a swap.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it has protein, right?
Right.
I don't think that there's like in and of itself when I look at so priority, right? Protein. Protein and fiber are kind of if I had to like distill it down into like really like the only important thing, it would be protein and fiber. You've got like chicken tenders have fiber, have protein in them. I'd be curious what the fiber content is. Probably have some. My guess is that it's got some. Could we optimize those, right? Could we choose a really, I don't know which brand you use, right? But could we optimize the brand? Could it be where it's like the best quality, like in the best package, you know what I mean, with a good fiber content? What is the breading on it? Is it not ultra processed, right? Kind of getting away from the processed piece of it. It's going to be certainly processed to an extent, right?
Mhm.
But right, like I feel like that there's room for that. And also from like a pasta perspective, you know, I'm not against pasta. I don't know if you've tried any alternative pastas. Some I like, some I don't like. I don't know if you've tried any. That's
Yeah.
something to think about, right? Because then you can increase the nutritional value a bit on that if that is something that you rely heavily on. It might also be a matter of portions, right? So, yes, I'm going to have pasta, but it's not going to be the largest portion of my plate, right? I'm going to have less of a portion and maybe more of the protein or more of another safe food that fills a little bit of a different gap. Does that
So
make
gone is the bowl of mac and cheese.
right? So right? So mac and cheese, I also love mac and cheese. But when you look at there's really not balance there, right?
Right.
We've got a lot of carbs and a lot of saturated fat in the cheese. Now, fat's good, but it's the right fat. And saturated fat, you can have it, but we need to talk about how can we get the healthy fats in there, which are the omega 3s. And Cheryl, for you, good thing that you like oil and vinegar based dressings because that's where you can really optimize and get those good omega 3s either through olive oil or avocado oil. So that's good that you like versus like I only like creamy dressing, right? Which might be a little bit harder to find. Yeah, you don't like it. So yay, that's good, right? Because that can also be a thing. So so that's a way to bring in those healthy fats, but it may be for you, it may be just little tweaks to make sure, like to find more safe foods that kind of sit in like a really narrow area. And like it's possible. How do you feel about like vegetables and fruit? Where are you there?
Yeah, I don't mind those.
Excellent. That's huge. That's huge because I've worked with many people who are like, I don't eat any vegetables. And I'm like, okay. It's hard to find replacements for that. I mean, you can like smoothies and stuff, but some people are like really averse to that as well. But that's good. If you like fruits and veggies, then we have stuff to work with.
Yeah, no, I like fruits and veggies.
Yeah, good. I mean, even the mac and cheese, right? If you love mac and cheese, but if you could have some protein with it, or you could have mac and cheese with like a salad, right? With some, good dressing on it that's avocado or olive oil based with some, I don't care, cut up chicken tenders on top. And like instead of just the bowl of mac and cheese, kind of have more of that be like your side, not the meal.
Mm. Eh, you're kind of taking away from the bowl of mac and cheese there. It needs to be the center.
It needs to be center stage. Yeah. But even like if I'm going to
Yeah,
have
I know.
I'm going to make sure I have a salad, right? Like try to find some balance there.
Can we just put it all in a smoothie and call it a day and
I mean, you
get
can.
everything?
I would also I'm really curious. I'm really, really curious because I find this really interesting. I've done this with other clients before. I would love to see if you're willing, maybe Julie, this would be helpful for you too. Like if you're not really feeling connected to your hunger, it might be good to do an experiment for 24 hours where you wait until you're hungry. Because listen, if you don't eat for a day, you're not going to die. Like it's okay. You'll survive.
No, I just get grumpy.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it is connecting with that. Oh, was I not paying attention to small little signs until I got to the point where I was hangry? Like I went from, I thought I was a 3, I thought I was a 4, I was just hanging out. And now all of a sudden I'm a 10. And like what happened in between there that I wasn't even aware of? Because you're probably hungry. You just probably don't know what that feels like in your body.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Because we're busy, we're distracted, we've ignored it for a long time. It just, we're like out of practice. And so taking like 24 hours to tune back in and kind of listen might be helpful. What other questions you got, Cheryl?
Just have to look at the food log and figure it out.
Do you want help with that?
I'll take a stab at it first and see if there are things I can do. I mean, like, it's not that I don't like the anti-inflammatory things. I do like those things that were on the list. It's not like grapes are an easy one. I like those.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of putting those front and center versus waiting until I just grab a frozen pizza or chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Well, and maybe it can start really small. Maybe it can start with, if you like grapes, maybe it can start with, if I'm going to sit down and have a pizza, I'm also going to have some grapes. Right?
Mhm.
Like make it simple, simple, simple. And I don't care if you eat grapes 3 meals a day. You know what I mean? If you're like, that's what I was able to accomplish. But like, that's what I mean by being the pencil, not the eraser. Like, I'm going to add more. So instead of going into it thinking, I've got to get rid of my pizza, I got to get rid of my mac and cheese, right? What can you bring alongside to add and see what happens? See how you feel.
I think that goes against like all, and I'm sure you all felt the same way, like against all the dieting counterculture feelings that, oh, eliminate all of this. You can't have any of that. It's just stop eating that and only eat bowls of salad with grilled chicken and no flavor.
Yeah. And so I want to know, how has that worked for everyone?
Oh yeah, super well. No. Mm-mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we have to throw that, excuse my language, shit out. Like it is ineffective. It is unhelpful. It brings with it a lot of shame, right? Like a lot of shame, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotion around it. And it's just unhelpful advice. Because at the end of the day, when I look at pizza, yeah, really carb heavy, right? Really carb heavy, not the healthiest thing that you can have for your body, but at least there's cheese on it. So there's protein. At least there's some fat. Like there is nutritional value there. If there's pasta sauce, then you're getting some micronutrients, you're getting some lycopenes from the marinara, like there is some value there. So let's not negate that totally. Do I think you should eat pizza every single night of the week? No. But if you can have pizza, if that's what you like, and you need to start there, then if we pull in like some grapes, if we pull in some salad eventually, if we pulled in, have a half a pizza and some chicken tenders, because then you get more protein. Do you know what I mean? Like we can start to balance that out without you feeling like you've now just removed everything from my diet that I eat. And what happens, what I see happen is when we start being kinder and less restrictive, it allows our brain to get a little bit more creative. right? And so instead of you going to the store and being like, I got to find a replacement for pizza, you can go to the store and be like, you know, Cami mentioned like a pasta alternative. Let me just see. Let me try something instead of like, I have to get rid of all pasta. Right? Like it's your brain just works differently to try to problem solve when you're in a different space.
I think I mentioned this on one other call that like for me, it was a little harder as well because I have a husband and teenage son who eat one meal and then I'm stuck cooking something else for myself because I don't often like what I'm cooking for them. It's not that it's not good, it's not for me. They're very heavy meat eaters and I'm not. And so I often cook them a lot of stuff that I won't eat. So then I find it, I'm tired. I've already cooked a meal. I don't want to cook another meal. So that's why I default on some of the easier things. So I think I
Yeah,
need
so
just need
there's
to push myself to find some alternatives that are fairly quick, but are better solutions.
yeah, yeah, and a little bit of what might be helpful too. So I don't know, let me double check. I may not have opened it up yet, but I'm gonna check. Let me just jump in here really quick. No, I haven't, but I will. So one of the I didn't want to overwhelm you guys, but I did a like a meal planning mastery webinar that I chunked down into like individual lessons that I give you guys for free, but I didn't want to like throw everything out there. So it's just a helpful kind of how do I meal plan, and in there for you, Cheryl, is I talk about kind of how to determine your family favorites and then how to like maybe modify them for you. So I don't know what your guys like to eat, right? But is there even like a portion of what you make them that you would eat? And like, can you be strategic that like, oh, I'm making them a salad, so like I'm gonna have a salad too. Like I don't know what they eat, but you know what I mean? I don't want all of that, but like 1/3 of what I made I can eat. The other thing is, the other idea is a little bit of meal prep. I'm harping on the grapes because you said grapes, but I'm just thinking like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna eat more fruits and veggies because I'm not really ready to take away like the pizza or the chicken nugget. Like I'm not ready to feel restrictive or try to figure that out yet. It just feels like too much. But I can add the things that I like. And fruits and veggies don't bother me. And so I'm going to be intentional about maybe like a portion at dinner and like make that the goal and that's it. So then maybe on the weekend, if you just prep those things, like wash the grapes, make the salad, cut the cucumbers if you like cucumbers, like whatever, right? And then that becomes just as easy to grab as anything else, right? So if convenience is a factor, then it's like I can grab the pizza and I can grab the grapes and done. I don't have to do more than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always making the time for meal prep. We all have those Pinterest stories that we save or recipes that we want to do for meal prep and just don't get around to it. So,
Well, I think, what I see all the time is that we make it like it's got to be this big thing. Like I'm gonna meal prep all day on Sunday because that's what people do, right? They get on and they're like, "This is my meal prep," and they prepped for 5 hours. When sometimes it just looks like washing grapes, cutting some vegetables, putting them in individual containers, and calling it a day, right? It doesn't have to be more than that, especially to begin with. And I would highly, highly recommend that you do a little, like add something versus taking something away. Especially because I think if we start taking things away, you're already used to that restrictiveness and it's not worked before, like it's not helpful. I don't think it's the right direction to go in. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Yeah. Do you hate me?
No, it's just a hard topic. That's all.
I know. And I just want to be helpful, but yeah, just think about what you can add. That would be the last thing. And I'm happy to help in any way. Okay. Julie, Can I only enter moods, hunger level, etc. in the computer version of the Chronometer? That's a good question.
Well, or is it just something that's in your program? So I finally sat down. I've had a terrible time finding time to come down to my computer this week with my grandkids here. And when I sat down and started going through lessons, all of a sudden I saw that part of, oh, this is where I'm supposed to put moods. This is where I'm supposed to put, am I hungry? I had no idea that was there.
Yeah, so that is, I don't think that's in Chronometer. I think that's in Practice
just-
Better. I'm
Okay.
checking right now because I'm like, I didn't know off the top of my head. Let me find my Chronometer. There we go. Okay. Yeah, because Chronometer you can put, stop telling me to upgrade, please. Okay, hold on one second.
It's in Practice Better. So
is,
it
okay.
does
I'm
link.
glad you found that quicker than I did because Chronometer's taken me through all these.
And this is even on my phone. So I found it just by the bottom menu. It has a spot for journals.
Yes.
So my food does go over from that diary, but then I can add my location and mood.
Yep.
So, okay.
Yep. And then it'll all be in there. And then you can add, like, you can actually, like, I can comment and stuff too.
Okay.
Which is like really interesting when I get going on that. Yep. Yep. Location and mood. I see it too. Breakfast on the 6th. Yesterday, you put your information in. I see it. Your mood.
Yes,
and
because
your
I
location.
actually sat down yesterday and like started searching through things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. Getting familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's interesting. So especially with Practice Better, I only see the practitioner side. So there's some of it that like I don't know what it looks like. I have to go into like the help things to be like,
Right.
this is what your client sees because I see my version, you know what I mean? So I still feel like I find things that I didn't realize were there or where they are or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Was it helpful? And you don't have to feel like you've got to track all that specific every single day,
though,
every single meal,
it
unless you want to.
it has made me stop and think about though, as I ate the sleeve of Oreos, how stressed I was. And the other, as I sit and I write about mood and I stop and I kind of think about this, it's a textural thing.
Mm. Mhm.
I had a fried donut last week. And it was from a bakery I've never been to before because normally they are like the most obnoxious looking donuts you've ever seen. Like all this stuff like gooped on top of it.
Oh yeah, I've seen them like that. I'm like, that's too much. I need like
It's
just a
too
good
much.
glazed donut. Just
So somebody brought we have fun Fridays at school and teachers sign up to bring snacks for all the other teachers. And somebody brought something from this bakery, but they were normal looking donuts. I was really surprised. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to have half a donut because I just want to try it. I like a good bakery. And the texture of it was the most fabulous, like crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. The
Mhm.
frosting on it wasn't like a normal frosting that you would have on a donut. I can't even describe what it was. So I went back and I sampled a quarter of another one. I went back and I sampled a quarter of another one. And it came down to at the end, I'm like, why did I feel like I needed to do that? It was the texture. The texture of that donut was phenomenal. I liked the crunchiness on the outside.
Mhm. Yeah. And just knowing that, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that like I really enjoyed that. That texture was really right. And now I want to do it in a way that's like balanced,
Right.
right? And whatever that is for you. I
Stay
think,
out of the workroom on fun Fridays.
Yeah, I mean, it's there, or I'm gonna take it and like bring it back to my classroom, my one, and bring it back to my classroom, and
Yes.
then that's it, right? And
Yeah.
not the back and
And
forth.
not enter back into the workroom on that Friday.
Yeah, yeah, like that is,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, and I wonder too, I mean, stress absolutely plays a role. And what I often see with the late, it's kind of either late night eating or eating while you're making dinner. Have you guys ever
Mhm.
done snacking while you make dinner? So like you get home from work, you got to make dinner, and then you're like in the pantry, like I'll just have one Oreo and then I'll have two Oreos, and I'm trying to make dinner. And you know, oftentimes what I see, and we can like look at your food logs to kind of see what's happening. Oftentimes it is a matter of not getting enough protein early enough in the day.
Okay.
And so when did you eat? Did you track the day that you did
I don't think
Oreos?
so because I was struggling with entering in the app. Um,
Mhm.
my biggest thing is a lot of the things that I actually eat are not prepared in the store.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, so I'm guessing I just add, sour bread toast,
Yeah.
Okay, a friend of
Close enough.
mine makes it. It's all homemade. And so I
Mhm.
just pick whatever brand and
Yep. One
yeah.
slice and call it a day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You don't need to get like, oh my gosh, I've got to enter the recipe and blah, 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 like for that kind of stuff, as long as you can get
yeah.
close. But I'm even looking, so I'm looking really quick since I was in here already. Your protein for the 3 days that I could see, but it looks like the one day last week probably didn't put everything in. Um, Protein looks a little on the low side,
Okay,
right? So that leads me to believe that that might be some of the culprit for like the
okay.
Oreo, right?
Well, and
So,
I do feel like I do better if I get up and have an omelet in the morning or scrambled eggs or yeah.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And omelet, scrambled eggs, Greek yogurt if you like it, cottage cheese if you like it, great source of protein, high protein. Eggs are not actually really high in protein. You need 3 eggs minimum.
And
Um,
that's what I have.
Excellent.
I
Yeah, some
I
people are like,
really,
I don't
really
like that many eggs. I don't mind eggs.
no,
Um,
I really, really love that pile of scrambled eggs with a little bit of cheese on it. It just makes me very, very happy. If I can
yeah.
chop up vegetables, mushrooms and onions in it too,
Mhm.
yeah, that makes me very happy.
Yeah. Have you ever made frittata?
No.
Oh, it's one of my favorite things to do because it's so easy, so great for meal prep. So you could do the mushrooms and the onions and the cheese on top, but then just bake it as a frittata. Like it's literally just scrambled
Okay.
eggs and all sorts of whatever what you want to add to it, and bake it in a cast iron dish, round dish. Bake it till it's done, till it's set. So it's like a crustless quiche kind of, and then I just slice it into like 6 slices, and that's breakfast. And then I
Okay.
can reheat it. Yeah.
Well, and as you say cottage cheese, I have a great casserole that has cottage cheese and egg bake.
Yep.
And it is to die for. And it's a
Yeah.
9 by 13, so it would last me a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those types of things, right? And then you notice what happens to your hunger on the days that you have like a higher protein breakfast and maybe a higher protein lunch, see what happens with the Oreo scenario, even if you've had a stressful day, because it might look very different.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like the feedback loop. That's the awareness. It's really helpful because then when you do go for the Oreos, say a couple days later, you might be like, oh my gosh, I didn't eat enough protein today. It's not, oh my gosh, why am I eating these Oreos? I know I shouldn't be eating them. I can't believe I just ate a whole sleeve of Oreos, right? It's not that conversation. It's that I know what happened. I
Okay.
didn't eat enough protein today. And so now my body's just looking for fuel, and like I can choose differently. Or maybe I can grab protein right now instead of maybe I could grab some Greek yogurt with berries, because even though I really want that Oreo, what my body wants is protein.
Okay.
Okay. Because when our body is feeling depleted from like a nourishment perspective, it's going to crave sugar because that is the quickest fuel source for every cell in your body, especially your brain. And our brains use a lot of energy. Okay. So just because you're craving sugar doesn't mean you're actually craving sugar. You're probably just craving nourishment. Like your body is depleted somehow. Right. And so sugar is just the quickest nourishment. And so the brain is like, give me sugar, right? Just give me sugar. It'll wake me up. It'll give my everybody a little bit of boost, right? Which is true. That's what happens, but it may not actually be what your body needs. It's just
Okay.
what it's asking for. Yeah. Was that helpful?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Lisa, let's chat about tasty, healthy, non-exotic recipes. Okay, so I'm hearing kind of like simple, good meals,
Yeah.
not like spicy or what kind of food do you guys like to eat?
We, we eat a lot of different things, right? But
Mhm.
nothing like real exotic. Like quinoa is probably as exotic as we get. Oh, in that new recipe with the polenta and the mushrooms and the arugula, the nutritional yeast. I was like, what the heck
Nooch.
is, what the hell, what is that? And so that was like my first encounter with nutritional yeast, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is I get it. It has a kind of a cheesy taste to it and that sort of thing. But so it's not like I'm not opposed to that, but I need things that like I can buy at Food Lion, right? We don't have like a big organic market close by or something
Mhm.
like that. Our closest one is really in Durham, which is about a half an hour away.
Okay. Yeah, so nutritional yeast is awesome. I don't know if you guys have ever, anybody else has used it. But it is inactive yeast, but it is really high in micronutrients and high in protein. It's like a powder. And Julie, speaking of frittata, I will add it to my frittata too, because it's got a little bit of a savory, cheesy hint to it. Um, and so it's just like an added yumminess.
It's not some sort of a soy-based thing, is it?
Nope. Nope. It's
It's an
yeast. It's
inactive
like
yeast.
inactivated yeast that's like this like powdery substance. Kind of, it's like yellow.
Mhm.
It's not really a strong flavor, but used in a lot of different, it'll also help thicken things up a little bit, like when I've made stuff with it. It's good. It's a really great thing to kind of have on hand. So do you guys like, what kind of flavors do you guys like?
Nothing really super spicy. And
Yeah.
and we stay away from tomato-based stuff
Okay.
if it's an acidic tomato kind of
Okay.
thing. So like a spaghetti sauce, we usually kind of shy away from something like that.
Okay. So are you kind of to the point where like you feel bored
Yeah,
what you're
it's like I
eating?
feel like we're eating the same things, and I go and I find a recipe, and it's like, okay, this was okay, but it's probably not a keeper. And then we get
Mm,
one, it's like, oh, keep that one. So it comes into the rotation. But so if I'm going to be doing that, it's like, where can I go that the recipes are like what we're looking for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you looking for, do you typically do like meat, potato, like a meat, a vegetable, carb,
Yeah.
like kind of a
Yep.
traditional balanced meal type of stuff? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like, I mean, I like a lot of different sites, but Skinny Taste tends to be a really, really good website with just a ton of options.
Okay.
Right? If you're like, I just want to search for new recipes. Um, that is a big one. And I think too, hang on, let me type it in here. Delicious.
It's like I've had pretty good luck with the Preppy Kitchen recipes.
Mm-hmm. I also like Ambitious Kitchen.
Ambitious.
Ambitious Kitchen.
Okay, I haven't heard of either one of those, so that's cool.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and she has a whole Ambitious Kitchen. She's got a whole like recipe index. And here's my recommendation. So I'm going to release the meal planning. I don't know if you were in the class,
Mhm.
Lisa. Um, but I would have you go back and do the family favorites
Mhm.
again. Just so that you've got like a running list, especially the things that you add, the things that you take out. And when you're trying new recipes, well, I mean, you can decide on your cadence, but I recommend that we keep meal planning with our family favorites and then maybe try a new recipe once or twice a month. What I often see people do is be like, I'm so sick of eating the same thing all the time. And then they like try like 3 or 4 new recipes in a very short amount of time, like maybe a week. And then maybe 3 out of the 4 of them failed. And then you're so frustrated that like it was so much work and you try to do things and it wasn't successful. And then you're like, we're also hungry and I don't have leftovers because you know what I mean? I tried things that
Right.
I didn't like. And so I like to space out the new recipes a little bit slower and then
Okay.
like buffer them with the family favorites. Cause then you know everybody's going to be happy tomorrow. And you didn't,
Right.
and if a recipe also, a new recipe ends up taking a whole heck of a lot of time,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you may throw it out the door even if it's excellent, but you may throw it out because it was like a pain in the butt to make, right? And you don't
Exactly.
know until you actually make it. Or you may find like, wow, that was really fast. Like I liked it and it was also quick. And so that's something that can be in the rotation more often,
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
like, I like to cook, but I don't like to spend an hour and a half prepping to cook, you know.
Yes, yes. The other thing that's really awesome, if you've never used it, have you used ChatGPT?
I have, but not for something outside of work.
Oh my gosh. So I did this. I was having friends over and it was one of those like I didn't want to go to the grocery store and like 3 other couples were coming over, right? So I needed to make like dinner, like a meal for people. But I didn't want to go to the grocery store and I had all these odds and ends in my fridge and I knew I wanted to like just use everything I had like a kitchen sink meal. So I told ChatGPT what I had in my fridge and I told them how many people were coming over and I asked it to give me a menu. And it
Ooh.
was awesome. It was awesome. So, I mean, and it gave me like appetizer, main dish, dessert, like a salad, and I ended up making everything. And everybody was, I was like, Chat GPT came up with this. Like, I hope it's good. And it was great. And I used everything that was in my fridge. It was crazy. I didn't need to buy
Sweet.
anything. And like I told it, like I have regular pantry staples, so it knew I had oil and spices or whatever. So what I was thinking for you is you could even take your family favorites,
Mhm.
right? Like we like tacos and we
Right.
like spaghetti and meatballs and we like this polenta recipe with mushrooms and arugula. Like just give it an idea of what you normally eat
Mhm.
and then ask it to give you new ideas with the same flavor profile.
Ah, okay.
Because then you're not going so far out of like your regular, but it might give you like just simple like alternatives and changes. Like give me like 2 new recipes you think that we would like.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, the other thing you can do once you have your family favorites, right? If you're like, I need to meal plan, but like I don't, just put the family favorites into ChatGPT and say, give me a 2 week meal plan.
Oh, okay.
And it'll spit it out and then you can adjust it as you want or leave it.
Okay.
Yeah. We got to use the robots for good. Until they take over
Right.
the world, we got to use them for good.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah. And then what's cool with that too is once you put in, like, if it gives you a meal plan, you can also ask it for a grocery list.
Oh.
And you can tell it to sort by aisle.
Yep.
What?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yep. And
I'm writing
I
this
bet,
down. Sort by aisle.
and I bet you could probably have it sort by aisle by your store. If you put
Uh-huh.
like I go, put the website in, the store map from your store and put it in there. It's
Okay.
crazy. It's crazy. Like it's the things that I've been like, let me see what ChatGPT says. And I'm like, okay, well, that was helpful because I didn't have to use 90% of my brain power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
And then what I like about it is I don't have to stick with it, but it gets me started. It gets
Right.
me like, right, if I'm like, oh, I do not want a meal plan, like I don't know what I want on Monday. But then I can just ask chat and then it'll come back and I'll be like, I hate that. I don't want that on Monday. I'm gonna move that to Tuesday. Or no, I'm gonna like it gets my problem solving brain
Hmm.
geared up,
Okay.
you know?
Yep.
So let us know how it goes.
Okay.
You can also tell it to cook with the rainbow of colors.
Mhm.
Make
Okay.
sure you have the full vegetable rainbow.
Yes. And I had a client take the formula that I give you guys, the formula for eating with ease. She put it in and she was like, okay, I need to eat this much protein. You know what I mean? I need this many servings, blah, blah, blah per day. I don't like fish. I, want chicken once a week and red meat once a week. And I need, easy, convenient lunches. Give me a meal plan that falls into that formula. And it totally did it for her.
I'm
Ooh.
so doing that, you know that.
You should do it. Let us know
I
how it
am.
comes out. Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
will throw in there that I only like chicken tenders and frozen pizza.
yeah. But I mean, could you even get creative and be like what kind of chicken tenders have a little bit more fiber or like, right? Give me a recipe that I could make my own that would taste just like whatever. I don't know. Like you never know what it might come up with to give you an idea. Be like, "Oh, okay." Like make it fun. Make it fun. Make it fun, make it interesting.
Lisa, you can even ask it for web links. So, like, if you want to watch a video on a particular recipe, it can give you links too. So just make sure you
Nice.
put that in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it can be, I call my chat GPT Donna because she's my executive assistant. So give it a name.
Okay.
Give it a name. Make it work for you. Yeah. Was that good? Is that like
Yes.
to enough to get you started
I
with
think
your
so. Yeah.
relationship with ChatGPT? How it can
Thank
help you?
you.
Yeah, but if you have food preferences or food allergies or you know what I mean, make sure you tell it that and then it won't give you stuff that you guys don't like.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. All right, we have a little bit more time. What other stuff you guys want to talk about, need help with, clarity on?
I listened to a Mel Robbins podcast today, and I'm forgetting the doctor's name that was on there, but she's a doctor specializing in oh diabetes, just general health, obesity, and so forth. And she was
So I
talking
bet
about
it was Dr. Salis Whalen.
yeah, that one. Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes. I
yes.
met her. I met
Yeah.
her. I went up to her office up in New York City. She's brilliant. She's an
Yeah.
endocrinologist, obesity
Yeah.
specialist. Yeah, yeah, she's awesome.
But she was talking about like all the different factors that go into, the obesity and how like some of that's just not really in our control. And that as, part of her consultation that she talks about how to unravel all of that. And
Yeah.
how it's everything from, your genetics to what your parents were like before they had you to, you know, environment to everything, like for me, like I went from a very kind of active moving around the facilities more to I'm at home, I work from home now. And so that was a change in my environment and that impacted my health to a degree.
Yeah.
I'm also, predispositioned. If we look at all my ancestors, my mom's mom was overweight, had diabetes type 2. Her mom actually died from complications from diabetes type 2. my mom's brothers have diabetes type 2, or one's borderline, one actually has it. And so my mom has struggled with, she's as skinny as a rail, but I think that's a different direction for her. But I just look at it all, and my dad has the same plethora of problems. So, it was just interesting to hear how they were treating it and how they were looking at it. And I don't want to go the route of the medication, but it's interesting that you have to unravel all of that. Uh,
Yeah,
that's where I go back to. It's complicated.
it is. And it's multifactorial, right?
Yeah.
It's not a straight line.
Yeah.
Even when you go on medication, I have plenty of clients who are on GLP-1s, and it also is not a straight line, right? It's not like nothing. And I'm sure, I mean, she said this on her social media, but she's like, nothing is a silver bullet. Like nothing, like nothing. It is like a process. It's unraveling, it's understanding, it's looking at what you can't control, genetics or whatever, right? And also what you can control, like how can I optimize what I'm doing and how I'm caring for myself? And also, how can I use the best of Eastern and Western medicine, right? Like, how can I pull all that in together? But then it is very complicated. It's not straightforward, and it can be easy to feel overwhelmed. And an
Yeah.
overwhelmed mind says no. An overwhelmed mind is just like, peace out. I can't see my way through this. And so I'm just not even going to bother. So that's a lot of what, like, as you wade through this, like, notice when you feel overwhelmed and when you feel like, right? And kind of like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just saying no. I'm going to do something else, focus on something else, focus on what I can control, right? Like, I can't control that I'm a picky eater, right? Because there's part of that you can't control. It's just who you are, but I can get my exercise in. I could control that like you did, which is exactly what you did.
Yeah, and I am feeling a little overwhelmed with the food, so I might just focus on adding the anti-inflammatory things for the moment, and see how I can just add them in, and kind of by de facto, you're actually just reducing the amount of the other things because you're going to get full on these things.
Yep.
So if I just
100%.
focus on that, maybe that will be a good start.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because we can't do everything all the time. We like all at the same time. But by adding a little bit more of the good, even if, like, I would say for all of you, a good place to start is making sure you're getting enough water, make sure you're hydrating, and then add something, right? For you, Julie, it might be more protein because you're like, I'm a little, right? That might be a good place to start. Like nothing else. Learn everything else, right? Watch the lessons and whatever, but like focus on this thing. For you, Cheryl, it might be that anti-inflammatory stuff you like. Just eat more of that and see how you feel, right? And Lisa, it might be, more vegetables, more fruit, more, right? It might just be like, how do I get more micronutrients or how do I, get more protein? Maybe that's, and just start there. The rest, well, you don't have to do everything all at the same time. And it's not worth it to do it all at the same time in my mind too, because then you don't always know how you feel. I'd much rather you make the connection between like I didn't grab the Oreos because I had more protein today, right? Like make that connection in your brain. Or Cheryl, like, ooh, I didn't finish my pizza because I actually had some grapes and some salad. And so like, ooh, and I checked in on my hunger and like, cool, right? Like make that connection to be like, this is how things are shifting for me and changing. Yeah, that's a good podcast to listen to.
Yeah, it was. I didn't get to finish all of it because I arrived here. I'm in Connecticut. That's why my color looks a little funny on the computer.
How is your mom?
She did not hear back from Fox Chase yet, so we opted to see the cancer specialist, Alliance cancer specialist there in Langhorne.
Oh,
So she
okay.
got an appointment next Wednesday.
Okay.
And I do like the doctor there. She's my hematologist. Well, she's an oncologist hematologist. I see her for the hematology part. Hi,
Who
puppy.
do you mind me asking what her name is?
Oh, Dr. Isaac.
Dr. Isaac. Okay, because my mom sees a hematologist, Dr. Crilly. So I
Yeah.
was like, wouldn't it be interesting if they were the same person?
Yeah. I actually got connected to her through Dr. Hurst's office, Arrow Family.
Hmm.
I had gone to that group before, but I just really like her bedside manner. And maybe I don't necessarily like St. Mary's, but we can do some of the stuff and get going on the testing. So, but thanks for
Yeah.
asking. It's very,
Yeah. Well, and the good thing to know a lot about from like an oncology perspective, most of the area hospitals do it exactly the way the city hospitals do it because it's all the same protocol. So they all come together like they're like tumor board and right, they all kind of meet and do all the cases together. And then most of the hospitals, they do basically the same thing. So like I've had multiple friends who have like, I'll get a second opinion at Penn, and then Penn is like, we would do the exact same thing. And if it's better for you to get treatment closer to home because it's more convenient, like then go do that kind of a thing.
Mhm.
So, but let me know. Let me know how it goes, or let us know how it goes. Praying for you guys, of course.
It's always challenging dealing with parents as they get older, as you two know.
Yeah, for sure. My mom's been struggling with her blood pressure, and like she saw a new has a cardiologist, never had one before, whatever. I don't like him. Didn't like him from like day one. But my mom got his name from some guy at church that I don't even know who this dude is, whatever. I was like, what, mom? I think he's like a new member. So my mom doesn't even know this person, but this guy, I'm sure was like, well, he's the head of cardiology. He's a good buddy of mine. Like, I think it was that sort of a conversation. And so my mom was like, no, I want to go see him. We went to see him probably a year ago now. I was like, I just don't like this dude. Like I asked him some like really pointed questions and he was very dismissive. And I had told him I was a nurse and I had told him, you know what I mean? Just to be like, I kind of know some of these things. He was really dismissive. But my mom was just unwilling. I know I want to see him. I was like, fine. So now she just comes home. She's got on a second medication. Her ankles are swelling. She's putting on weight. I'm like, Mom, we're not going in the right direction. And she was like, yeah, I just don't, I think I want to see him anymore. And I told you that like a year ago. And she goes, well, why didn't you recommend anybody? I told you I didn't like him. I told you I gave you options. Like I reached out to like my friend who's a cardiology NP who like knows like good people close by. Yeah. She wouldn't listen to me. I'm just a nurse, Cheryl. What do I know?
Details.
I know. So I was like, okay. So sent her the same names I sent her a year ago, and now we're gonna go see somebody who's actually, well, don't listen to me, right? Just your daughter.
If anybody comes up with any good dinner recipes, let me know that you could do meal prepping that's not too complicated. Let me
Mhm.
know.
I would start with washing fruit and cutting up whatever veggies you like. That's my first step.
My first step was just buying vegetables to have in the refrigerator and
Mhm.
buying fruit that I can grab. And that more so, it's not even a second thought anymore. I grab a glass of water and a couple cuties, I just don't even think about it.
Mhm.
All right, don't laugh, but I was thinking about getting myself a Snackle box
100%.
and putting it in a mini fridge in my office upstairs so that it was there. Because if I cut it all up, put it in the Snackle box, and then put it right in front of me, I have no excuses but to eat it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Snackle boxes, bento boxes, Tupperware, whatever, and put it like the more convenient, the better. If you're upstairs in your office all day and you can just grab, absolutely. So nobody
Yeah.
left. Everybody's excited about this. So could we hold you accountable to like take a picture of the Snackle box and show us what you got going on?
It might be a bento box, but I'll find
It doesn't
something else.
matter. The box. We'll just call it Cheryl's box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. I will
Okay.
try. Probably not. Please don't do it this weekend because my daughter has her wedding this weekend and party. So I probably will be doing
Oh,
nothing other than that stuff and Mother's Day stuff. So, and
oh,
then my mom comes up this weekend.
is the wedding on Saturday?
So it's not really a wedding. They already got married on paper. They did the Quaker wedding. So we're having a dinner at the Yardley Inn, and then we're going bowling at the Delmore Bowling Alley in Morrisville. It's quite the dive, but it's
It is, but
that's
it's
what
a
they
good
wanted.
place. Good place to bowl. Yep. Yep.
So I probably will be very occupied this weekend. So give me at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's totally fine. Yes, because I want you to enjoy the wedding, the
Yeah.
party, the reception piece, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and Mother's Day. We deserve
Yes.
to enjoy Mother's Day. And Lisa, I hope your mother enjoys Mother's Day. Yeah, I'm spending Mother's Day with my not husband and my not children, two of my not children. So my husband's away, but my friend's husband is staying with us and he couldn't get home to her this weekend. So he's making me dinner. And then my other girlfriend, her two boys are staying here overnight Saturday into Sunday because they're on a road trip. So I'm hosting them for like free place to sleep. But Megan and Christian won't be home. So I was like, well, I'll still have 3 kids and a husband here, just not mine. It's fine.
Lisa, I think you should do another drum beating day. That sounds really exciting to do,
I think so.
actually.
Well, and the host of that Zoom session, he's so chill, and you do some stretching before you start drumming because you've got to loosen up your shoulders and your wrist and all, it's super cool. You should just try it just to see.
Yeah.
I actually might try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's just seniorplanet.org is the website, and you can look at their online classes, and they publish them for the whole week. And they do stuff every day. They were doing a virtual tour of Chinatown.
Balance and stretch, morning stretch. They even have like computer classes.
Yeah, iPhone stuff, tech support. And I think what's really cool is they have communities. So where if you're a knitter or whatever craft you do, you can jump into that Zoom and just do your craft while other people are doing their crafts, and you've got a community. So I think they do a nice job of, bringing seniors together, and that sort of thing. I'm like, what a great thing.
Yeah, they even have a Tai Chi class. I've always wanted to try Tai Chi. I never
You
have.
should try it.
Yeah. Nice. And I am an AARP member, so
Well, there you go.
not that you have to be, but that's awesome. That's a great resource. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome.
Okay, so how's everybody feel about tonight? Feel like you got your questions answered? Yeah? Okay, we will be back next week. Next week, normal time, 7 o'clock, but at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, I will send you guys an invite. I have a graduate group, like after you're done with this, if you wanted to continue, there's a graduate group. And what I offer in there is expert calls. But I open them up to anybody who's working with me. And so next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, a fellow menopause coach is coming on, and she's going to talk about advocacy and how to advocate for yourself with your medical providers. She's really awesome. Her name is Sarah, totally optional. It will be recorded, and I will put it in the program for you so that you have it, so that you can watch it later. But if you wanted to be there live, it's available to you guys.
That's when my mom's appointment is, so I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
And I
But
teach
I
an
will
art
watch a lot.
lesson then, but yes, if you have the replay, that would be
Yep.
awesome.
Yep, I
Yeah.
will definitely give you guys the replay. That's no problem. And I'll open up, I'll do it right now. I'll open up the meal planning mastery lessons for you. And that way, if you want to look at them, you can, but don't get overwhelmed by them. They're there just extra. Okay.
And is your Kelly Clarkson show next week as well?
Yeah. Tuesday,
Yeah,
Tuesday, May 13th. It is, well, at least in my area, it's like on all the NBC affiliates. It's 3 o'clock, my Eastern, but it's 3 o'clock Central too. But if you go to Kelly Clarkson, there's like a where to watch, because they're on some Fox networks too. And Cheryl, since you're local, Tuesday morning on Philly Live, it's like right after the 11 o'clock NBC news on NBC 10. There's like a 15-minute like community slot. I'm going to be on that morning. So I got to go into Philly
Cool.
that morning. Yeah. So they're interviewing me that morning because I'm going to be on Kelly Clarkson later. So I got to get up really early and get into the city, but it's exciting. It's fun. So yeah, next week will be a busy week, but it'll be great.
Yay.
I'll post the replay and stuff. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to see it online if you can't see it live. So thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Fun. Okay. All right. I will make sure that this recording goes in. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you guys next week. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.